65 years ago, Danish archaeologists unearthed a remarkable find during their excavation of the Viking fortress Firkat in Denmark. Within a grave rested a woman approximately 40 years old, adorned in a floor-length blue gown. The elaborate attire strongly suggested the woman's high status and importance. The Viking historians agreed in their assessment. The occupant of the grave was undoubtedly a
Volva,
a Seeress or witch, renowned for her ability to predict future events and perform sorcery. This individual represented the epitome of the Viking Volva, a figure steeped in myth and revered as one of the most influential women in Viking society. The term Volva, translating to staff-bearer, held immense significance during the Viking era as the primary conduit between the Vikings and the realms of gods and spirits. Volvas wielded formidable powers, making them indispensable in matters of both politics and military strategy. No decision to go to war was made without first consulting these Seeresses. Such was their influence that even Odin, the mightiest of gods, sought the services of Volvas for guidance and assistance. In essence, the Viking Volva played a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the Viking people, and their historical significance remains undeniable. Let's delve deeper into the enigmatic world of the Viking Volva.
Þetta saga víkingakvenna með Magnusi.
But before we begin, please hit that like and subscribe buttons. It really helps out the channel a lot and blah 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 blah. During the Viking Age, Volvas played a pivotal role as primary interpreters of religion, delving into prophecy and
Seidr,
a comprehensive term encompassing knowledge and techniques at the intersection of religion and magic. They held formidable power and occupied influential positions among the rulers of the era. These itinerant sorceresses were adept at foreseeing the future, healing diseases, and inducing madness in enemies. People sought their blessings for success in war, bountiful catches of fish, favorable sea winds, and joy in love. Typically older women detached from strong family ties, Volvas were often summoned during crisis situations, accompanied by a retinue of young followers when engaging in
Seidr,
exerting substantial authority. They charged a noteworthy fee for their prophetic services, and beware if you didn't pay up, she would then cast a spell on you, ruining your life. In a 1949 excavation in Denmark, a half-meter-long Volva staff emerged, thrust vertically into the marsh. Experts deem this staff as one of the earliest definitive signs of Volva's existence. Carved onto it is an image of a woman with braids and a long dress, likely representing the Volva herself. Below the figure, an incantation in runes reads, "The flying never overcame you. Asa has luck in battle." Historians suggest that the flying refers to a feverish illness cured by the Volva for a woman named Asa, utilizing the staff. Volvas employed such staffs, among other tools, in practicing
Seidr,
an old Norse term, essentially meaning sorcery and entering a trance. The difference between practicing magic and performing Seidr is that in magic, it is the techniques themselves that are effective. It involves actions that are inherently powerful, working without the help of the gods and granting a person control over life and death. The one practicing Seidr could take away people's senses and bring upon them all sorts of misfortunes.
Hey, what is that?
I don't see anything.
Yeah, there are two very sharp objects zooming towards. Oh, they were arrows! In the name of Loki.
So, not someone to be trifled with. However, these skills could also be used positively. The practitioner of Seidr could see everything hidden in the past and future, calm seas and storms, and find lost objects. So naturally, the Volva was both feared and respected for this knowledge. A man could also practice Seidr, but he did not enjoy the same respect as the Volva. Seidr was primarily considered a female activity. A male practitioner of Seidr could be accused of being
Erki,
meaning homosexual, something the Vikings deemed highly shameful. Check out my video for more on that. In Eric, the Red Saga from around the year 1000, we find a description of the sorceress and Volva
Torbjörg,
in Greenland when a great famine struck. The
Jarl Torki,
decided it was best to seek guidance from higher powers, and thus invited the Volva Torbjörg to the farm. In one hand, she held a staff with a brass knob, embedded with stones around the button. Around her waist, she wore a belt made of knotted straw, and from it hung a large pouch containing the tools needed for her divination. First, she positioned herself on
Seidr,
a kind of elevated platform, and a group of young women formed a circle around her. The women sang special songs that attracted the powers the Volva wished to connect with. Seidr shares many characteristics with shamanism and includes a similar drum. The Volva asks if someone knows the words of a chant called
Bartlokur,
which is part of the Seidr ritual. Gudrid, a Christian, knows this chant, but is unsure whether she should sing such a song. However, the Volva Torbjörg assured her that she would not become a lesser woman for doing so, and promised Gudrid that her future generation would be something she would be proud of. Gudrid then performed the song in the most beautiful way, and the Volva assured that many spirits had gathered, so now she could say that the famine would be over by spring. As the song or trance subsided, the Volva found herself still on a spiritual journey between different worlds, and people could now ask her questions, which she answered with great clarity. Volvas actually exists in Iceland today and predicts the future, though they are not always on the money. The Icelandic magazine Viking has been annually publishing predictions from a local Volva for almost 50 years. The predictions made by the seer have often proven to be accurate, and Icelanders read them with a mix of amusement and seriousness. In 2004, for instance, the seer predicted that the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat was so ill that Palestinians would have a new, more diplomatic leader. Just 11 months later, Arafat passed away, and the moderate Mahmoud Abbas assumed the leadership. Similarly, the Icelandic seer predicted the following year that Pope John Paul II would pass away, which happened 4 months later. However, the seer has also been completely off the mark at times. In 2004, she predicted that the Faroe Islands would secede from Denmark within a few years, a prophecy that has yet to materialize for the Faroese people. Freya is known as the goddess of fertility in Nordic mythology, but was also the leader of the Valkyries. In Norse mythology, Valkyries are female death wizards. Odin sends them out to keep an eye on all wars and battles, and lets them
Kjósa val,
choose the fall of men, meaning they decide who will fall in battle. The Volva's prophecy from the saga, the Elder Edda tells of a Volva whom Odin himself has summoned to learn the fate of the world. The Volva made contact with higher powers by entering a trance. In this trance state, the Vikings believed that the Volva's soul could travel to other worlds and visit spirits and gods who could assist her in her endeavors. To Odin, the Volva predicted the world's demise, Ragnarok, among many other things. As gratitude for the prophecy, Odin bestows upon her necklaces and rings. Odin had good reasons to reward the Volva generously, as no one wanted to incur the wrath of a Volva. Because through Seidr, the Volvas could also be used to harm others if the sorceresses were dissatisfied with the reward she had been given. In Egil Skallagrimsson's saga, we find an example of this. The Icelandic skald Egil has a dispute with King Eirik Bloodaxe and Queen Gunhild because he had killed their son. It is said of Gunhild that she caused a Seidr to be spoken, that Egil Skallagrimsson should never find peace in Iceland or elsewhere until she saw him again. The magic evidently worked because Egil was soon shipwrecked off the coast of the Viking colony of York, where Gunhild and Eirik eagerly awaited him. Egil was sentenced to death, but on the day of his execution, he recited a poem so beautiful that the king forgave him. Check out my video for more on that. The Volva could establish a connection with the divine realm through prolonged meditation. In a practice known as out-sitting, the Volva would sit alone outdoors on a large stone. Throughout the night, she would encounter various beings believed to roam in the darkness. This form of Seidr was so prevalent in Iceland that even during Christian times, 13th century laws prohibited sitting out and waking up trolls and promoting heathen practices. Despite the high regard Volvas held in society, not everyone shared uniform enthusiasm for these powerful sorceresses. According to Orvar Odd's saga, a young man named Odd lived with the farmer Ingjalld when rumors circulated about the presence of the Volva Hilda. Ingjalld promptly summoned the Volva to predict the upcoming winter. She revealed not only details about the winter, but also other unknown aspects. However, when she attempted to prophesy for Odd, he refused to hear about his fate due to his aversion to magic. When she, despite his refusal, continued, the furious Odd thrust a stick into her nose, causing her to bleed. To appease the angered Volva, Ingjalld had to offer her food, lodging for 3 days, and a series of expensive gifts. Odd was not alone in his disdain for Volvas. In the 11th century, as large parts of the Nordic regions converted to Christianity, there was no room for Volvas who claimed to perform miracles in the new faith. During the harsh Christianization of Norway, King Olav Tryggvason tied a group of seedmen to a reef, leaving only their heads above water at low tide. Despite such persecution, the staff-bearing women did not entirely vanish. A new generation of sorceresses carried the old traditions into the Middle Ages, continuing their mystical practices in the north. However, they were eventually fiercely opposed by the church, and these women soon became known as witches, ending up being burned at the stake. Nevertheless, Volvas performed their crucial role in Norse society to their powerful connections with the spiritual realm, and these sorceresses left an indelible mark on Viking history. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed our exploration, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating insights into history. And I hope to see you in the next one.